Okay, welcome to another programming exam solution tutorial. A few little thoughts about files, and just want to make sure you understand binary files. The only thing I can think that will be really useful is to find the number of characters in the file. It's one of the ways of validating the end position. An easier way is just to try catch to catch the overflow, but just make sure you do know how to use the get text from file function, because I guess you could be asked to use it again. It's been fairly painfully written in terms of the parameters being passed, so that possibly hints that they might want you to use it a different way, but we'll have a little think about that. Well, let's start by thinking about how we can find the number of characters in a file. There is a couple of file length, but they produce it in bytes, and then you've got to think, is there any overheads? So by far the easiest way is to simply count the number of characters. So what we do is we use a boolean called EOF, end of file, and basically we loop until the end of file, and we step through one character at a time, and then record that count. So here's how you do it. So I've just created a little function called get number of characters in file, and I've got a couple of variables, count, which I'm just going to use as a stepper, and temp char, which is just going to be literally redundant, but I need a variable of type character or char in VB.NET's case to use later. I'm not actually going to record it at all. So standard file open, same as they've done in the steganography, and now I've got my do statement, and you can see that I've got loop until EOF and then 1, and of course that's the file number that I've defined here or declared there. So that loops until it reaches the end of the file, and the nice thing is that it doesn't get an error at the end of the file, it will just stop looping. So file get. What does file get do? I'm hoping you all know that if you hover over any function, you get this incredibly clear and easy to read explanation about what the function does. Just in case you don't speak Microsoftese, what file get does is take from a binary file, and it's the binary file declared by this number here, one lot of binary digits that represent this particular data type. So if I go to char, it represents a Unicode character, and if I forget how many bits, I think it's 8 bits, I think it's exactly 1 byte as a char, so this will take exactly 8 bits. If I had put an integer value, if I put count there, it would take 32 bits, so that's 4 bytes. And crucially, you can put any data type there you like, as long as it's any of the valid ones, and it will basically progress the reading point on that number of bits. So it will move it along 8 bits, and it will assign the next 8 bits as if it thinks it's a character to that variable. So of course I could use that elsewhere, or in this case I'm not. So this file get will actually just move it along 8 bits. Now I think the best way to just demonstrate this, if I load up a hex editor, and you can see this is the binary file, and this is hex, by the way, it's a free download, and you can see each of these represents 1 byte, 2 hexadecimal digits. So you can see that 1 byte there corresponds to 1 character in the binary file. So as I scroll through the visible text, you can see that it's 2 hex characters, or 1 byte. And that's exactly what file get does. If it was an integer, it would be moving, it would take these 4 bytes, which obviously doesn't make sense for a text file. And if ever you've had it that in Word you get loads of weird, strange characters, it's because you're trying to open up the wrong file and it's interpreting each byte as a character. That's just what it does. So what we're doing is progressing on one character at a time, which is nice because now I can just iterate or step this variable as count, and the number of counts I've done is the number of characters in the file. And then all I'm going to do is return it, and that's it. I'll stick that into my paste bin. So if you search in paste bin for Joe McCarthy-Holland, you'll see that all sort of comp one. I'm sure you'll find me one way or another, or you can just copy it there. It's not exactly big. We might as well quickly run it. I have created a case statement, and I think I've set it as S. So if I just return that, and you can see, I cheekily used one of the display functions. So there's apparently 1560 characters in the file, which including hidden characters is true. In fact, we can very, very quickly check that here. If I scroll down, just change that to decimal. So we've got 1,536, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. So there is exactly 1,560 characters in the file, including this last little one here, which is useful, really. Other things that we might want to think of. I've gone to the wrong place. Other things we might want to very, very quickly think about. So now you understand that this first loop here, we're in the get text from file function now. This first loop, which is using file get but doesn't seem to use the characters at all, is simply moving to the start position. And in fact you can tell it does that, because look, it says from count 1 to start position, file get characters from file, and it just steps through each of the characters to get to the start position. Then it now counts from the start position to the end position, which is 2 integer values, and this is the point where it starts doing exactly the same thing but using it by concatenating the character from the file into the text from the file, and then it returns the text from the file. So hopefully you now understand what file get does. You understand roughly what this does. It opens it up. It's only in this binary mode that file get and its writing option file put actually do this. And in fact, in my other videos, I just did text files because they're easier to sling text into using the print or print line function. But this is this is worth you playing with and making sure you've got your head around how this works. Is there anything else I can think of doing with the files? I mean, I guess, you know how we iterated to brute force the rail fence and Caesar cipher, and we could of course brute force the nth character. I suppose we could brute force the start position and end position. Be a pretty horrific thing to try and do, but I guess we could iterate through the start positions. I guess we could. Do you know what? I can't think of anything else. If your teachers have thought of something else to do with text files or binary files, please post them up there for everyone else to get some help with. Just add it as a comment to this file. I hope you found that little discourse about files useful. And good luck with the exam.